Hey everyone, graduation is here, which means we've got some tips and tricks if you are shopping for some graduation gifts. Now, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of our latest videos. Hi you guys, nice to see you.
Thank you.
It's been a minute since Watch Talk Crew has been together, so it's nice to have you here.
Yeah, nice to be here as always.
Good to be back.
I know. Well, graduation is on the horizon, which means gifts are a topic of conversation. And so when it comes to watches, I figured what better way to have a conversation around tips to buy the best graduation watch for a graduate.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, can we do a wrist check?
Yes.
What are you guys wearing today?
Ripley, what do you got?
As always, a palm dial. I own other watches, I swear. I just really like this.
It's okay to have a favorite.
It's not my favorite. You can't say that about the other ones. They're going to get jealous.
Okay.
I just like this one a lot. It's like, you love all your kids the same, but there is that one who's doing better than the others. Yeah, it's the same thing.
All right.
The other ones aren't here. They're not within earshot.
They're not less favorite. We just have, we all have a preference.
Yeah, we get it. It's good. It's hard to argue with.
It's a favorite.
Yeah.
I
What do
am
you got on?
wearing a really fun
Ooh.
14 karat gold Cellini. Has a mesh bracelet. This one's just fun, very me. Little loosey
Very
goosey,
cool.
but
I would totally wear that watch too.
nice.
Do
What
it.
are you wearing?
I'm wearing the Tudor Ranger leather strap. This one I think just doesn't get enough attention. I think it's such a cool watch, and I don't
The
see a ton-
original Ranger too, not the current production
Right.
Ranger.
Yes, this is the older one. Yeah. Anyway, great watch. I couldn't pass it up.
Awesome option. Well, nonetheless, be sure to let us know what you guys are wearing while watching this. We love your wrist checks. So, as we mentioned, graduation and gifts, they go hand in hand. But if watches are kind of that option for you, it's not an easy thing to just jump into. So, today we are breaking this down to kind of give you some helpful suggestions on maybe how to buy a watch. So, I guess if you guys are ready to kick this off,
Yeah,
I'll
let's do
begin.
it.
I think one of the biggest things, especially after graduation, so we're talking high school and college and potentially even graduate and med school and things like that. So there's a wide range of options of basically grads. So within that, insert watches. How do we begin to buy this? So one suggestion that we've all ideated around is the profession or the field that they're entering.
Okay.
So let's just say college graduation has come upon them and they already know where they're entering. What type of watch do they buy? Lucky for us, we know that some watches are kind of associated already with some of these professions. So, for example, if we have someone entering, I guess, maybe more of that medical field, what would we call a doctor's watch? Does something already
the doctor's
exist?
watch. Come on, we know. It
The
has to be the
doctor's watch,
Cellini.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, nonetheless, we have a Cellini Prince here that is so profoundly known as the doctor's watch.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain why?
Well, it's got the time and as far as the hours and minutes on the upper dial, and on that lower one you get that prominent running seconds hand. In the old days, again before quartz timekeeping and all of that, that prominent seconds hand made it easier to take a person's pulse, and so this style of wristwatch earned the name doctor's watch. Now we've got all sorts of digital equipment, but it does have that legacy, and it's a solid gold Rolex.
Sure.
It's a rather resplendent piece, and so for the doctor, regardless of how high your career may take you, it's always going to have a place in your collection.
Right. It might not be as necessary today, right? Like you said, all the new technology, but it still has the feel. I mean, it's a nice leather strap. It's a dress watch. You feel like you're wearing a shirt and tie under a lab coat. It still makes a great watch, aside from the fact that it's known as the doctor's watch. So I think it's a really appropriate choice.
Okay, so what happens if somebody's entering a different field, say like finance? Where does your mind go with a watch associated with something like that? It's obviously about prestige a little bit.
Sure.
So I would say instantly I gravitate towards a president, something very established.
Yeah, you think of the world of finance, you think of a president, a date just, and those are the classic options. There's a reason they litter the world of finance, and we think of the financial positions. That recognizability is a bit of a factor. Of course, there's plenty of obscure watches in the world of finance, but when you think of it, it's the big heavy hitters.
Sure.
The date just
And
presidents.
not just those. I think Datejust, which range from solid gold, really resplendent Datejust, to just stainless steel, very simple. I think all those are at home. Even Oyster Perpetuals, especially if this is kind of a starter watch type thing. Now maybe the graduates kind of just getting into watches or just building a collection. That's one thing to note. This watch will probably be one that they have forever.
Good point.
So I think it's important to kind of, it can be one of those watches that is a starter watch, and maybe 20, 30 years from now, they got a full box of all kinds of magnificent watches, and this was the, my old stainless steel Oyster Perpetual that I got when I graduated, and it's still no less love for it for that reason.
And with such a diversity of styles and price points, you can sure shoot the moon, get a solid yellow gold president, but like an older two-tone date just like this,
Great choice.
you know,
Just as perfect.
super reliable, timeless. You know, this is going to be in style in another 50 years, just as much as it is today, and at a wide range of values. You know, a steel piece like mine versus a two-tone or gold one. There's kind of one for every budget, and they've been around since 1945 and have been around and in style for that many years as well.
So I think, you know, we talk about profession being, you know, an influencer on choice. If we move into kind of my world, we do something maybe more creative, more, you know, maybe like an art director or marketing, you know, something with more of the creative side.
Something unique, kind of that conversational piece, right?
I think exactly. It can be a little more fun, a little more like here we have the Panerai, which, you know, there's definitely more style on that. The case is, you know, it's a big watch. It definitely has its own look and feel. And then this particular model has the California dial. So, you know, there's kind of just more style design. It's a little less formal, a little more fun. And I think this could be a great choice for someone that's kind of going into that direction.
Yeah, definitely, like, you can tell that thought was put into this on something like that. That clearly kind of like allows you to have a jumping off point with your luxury watch. If it's that conversation piece, if it's something unique, it does kind of fit that sort of like professional field.
Yeah.
So that's a great,
This is a good
great
one.
option.
Yeah, there's a reason why Panerai is so popular among the design and creative community. Think about among all the watches in existence, it's hard to think of a brand with a more defined and definitive design DNA. Panerai, look at the Luminor. It's so defined that they only make essentially two watches, the Luminor and the Radiomir, and it's, you know, although we are used to seeing them, it's a tried and true design. It's bold, it's unique. And I think it's a perfect watch for someone in the creative space.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and throw another one of my favorites into that category. The Milgauss. I think the Milgauss is a great choice
software,
for their...
IT,
yes, exactly. Anything
engineer.
techie is kind of cool. I mean, you know, it's kind of labeled and created, you know, with the magnetic resistance for a scientist. So, of course, anything in the scientist field, it's really appropriate. But again, in the creative field, it's fun. It's got some color to it. It's, you know,
Such
it's
a
not
perfect
quite as
fit.
stuffy. So, yeah, I think it's another great choice.
So those are awesome. So, you know, kind of narrowing this back down to, I guess, kind of our first introduction in sort of this tip when shopping for a graduation watch, consider profession. It's a really great jumping off point if they've already decided this. So let's say maybe the profession or their field of interest hasn't quite been established yet. What about budget? We can all agree that budget is a really great place to start. So kind of getting to that more affordable price point, we have Oris. I mean, come on, at $1,500 or under, you have a plethora of options, right? That can, like, from a color standpoint, even just the design elements within it, you have a lot of variety. So the option we have here today is an Oris Big Crown Pro Pilot. First off, stunning watch.
Love this one.
Especially at a value of $1,500 or under, come on.
Yeah, watches are a lot like wine. Like, you can spend the moon on it, but you also don't have to get yourself something that's going to deliver a high quality and, you know, satisfying ownership experience. And on the lower side of the, you know, Swiss luxury segment, I think Oris makes a fantastic watch for the money. You get a wide range of styles. You want something sporty like the Aquis, but like the Pro Pilot, like the Big Crown Pro Pilot, this is about as classic as you can get. Easy to dress it up or down. Not going to look out of place if you wear it with like t-shirts and the shorts, but at the same time, pretty formal that you could easily pull this off with like business casual all day long.
This one could live in a lot of different environments, which is, I think, really nice, especially when you're starting a collection, starting a journey.
And it comes in multiple sizes. So if this particular one's a bit too big or you want something bigger or smaller, it's all there from Oris and in multiple colors.
Yeah, I like the more affordables, especially right now. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get a great watch. And kind of the beauty about watches is I don't feel like you grow out of them. You know, I don't have a $1,500 Oris that I got from graduation that, you know, 10, 20 years from now is kind of meaningless. It's still in your watch box. It's something I'm never going to get rid of. You know, I'll pull it out and wear it whenever and enjoy the heck out of it. You know, it's it's tied to that pivotal moment in your life, and it's still a fantastic watch without breaking the bank. So I think, you know, there's no need that you have to feel like you have to spend a crazy amount of money to get a really good luxury watch.
Absolutely, and especially if maybe this is that first foray into watches, what better way to kind of enter than something that they get the chance to look to. Oris has a great, you know, history. I think we sell a lot of Longines as well that in that price point just make a lot of sense, and especially being a female in kind of this like watch world, Longines has wonderful ladies options that are still unique and kind of look like Cartier and some Rolex pieces, but definitely at that more affordable price point. So options galore, kind of in that $1,500 or under, but let's jump up to the 5,000 and under range, which really opens up a ton more options, especially from brands like Tudor. I think we have this Pepsi GMT here that is just, first off, an awesome watch, especially if this ends up being like one of your first pieces. Oh my goodness, you want to talk about something that a memorable milestone to commemorate?
Absolutely.
I would never forget it.
Yeah, I mean, from a functionality standpoint, you actually get more water resistance with the Black Bay GMT than the Rolex GMT. But with that 2 time zone ability, or technically 3 if you want to use the bezel, it's easy to keep tabs. So let's say your recent graduate's off somewhere else, keep the GMT time at home so they know they're not going to be waking you up. But this is also, just a great watch, iconic style, a brand that global presence, and again, another watch that you can get it as a recent graduate, and then in your 50s and 60s, it's still going to be a watch that has a place in your collection, regardless of what other pieces you may own by that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Submariners are always really popular choices. Datejust, GMTs, Rolex GMT, Masters. And this is a great, more affordable option. And like you said, you're definitely not outgrowing it. It's not something that you're going to kind of feel less about in the future. Oh, such a good watch. I would absolutely love to pick one up for graduation.
Yeah, and I mean, Tudor alone, within that price point, I mean, you've obviously got your Black Bays, but hello, like Pelagos, many other options. Like the catalog is endless, really, within sort of that range.
For me, Tudor offers so much value right there in everything that they bring to the table, where you don't have to spend what you would on a Rolex and still get the same features. And especially the designs lately, I really got to hand it to them. Man, those watches are gorgeous. Like, I love that GMT. I think it looks fantastic.
And because it is Tudor, you can get a very utilitarian piece, and it's still appropriate to wear it when you put on something nicer. In the same way that you can wear a Rolex Submariner with a suit, regardless of what formal attire rules may say.
Right.
Absolutely. So kind of in this 5,000 and under range, there are a lot of ladies options as well. Cartier is kind of having a moment, especially for something like this memorable graduation milestone. We have a bunch of options on our website right now, but one I chose, it's just unique. This is a Lady Pasha. This one's just fun. It's very unique. I've actually never seen the pink cabochon. You see this with the pink dial?
Love that.
Really fun. Price point under 5K. So again, kind of one of those pieces that maybe gets to initiate sort of this luxury watch collection, but something they'll never forget. But it doesn't end at Cartier for the ladies either. You can actually start with Rolex here too. We have a really great ladies OP that we brought to the table. Again, under 5K. It's a Rolex watch. It's also just beautiful and timeless with the option that we brought here. It's just black dial
Cartier and Rolex,
steel.
blue chip manufacturers, globally known. And I personally love this OP. Rolex Explorers come in sizes down to 36, well technically 34 if we want to go vintage, but if you want a ladies Explorer, this Oyster Perpetual is it. It has a dial that is almost the same as the Mark I 39 mil Explorer, but it's in a package that is infinitely more affordable and unusual. You don't see a lot of these, but it's such a cool watch.
It is. It's a timeless watch. I mean, it's always going to be appropriate, and I think this is an important to keep in mind as we're choosing. I want to pick something that they will have forever.
Yes.
Because
they will want to want
yes,
forever.
You want. I mean, it's symbolic and it's a milestone. It's something that they're probably never going to get rid of. It will likely be passed down, and that's a watch that can kind of live on indefinitely. So I think it's a great choice.
Yeah, and Rolex doesn't make ladies sports watches anymore, so you can get the Yachtmaster in different sizes. But if you want a very small, sporty women's Rolex, like a traditional one, this is, in my opinion, the obvious pick, because it's an Oyster Perpetual, so you get 100 meters water resistance, full stainless steel, smooth bezel, very sporty, but this is about as close as you can get to something like the Explorer, but in a traditional women's size. So I think it's an awesome option, and relative to what a Lady Yachtmaster costs, this is quite a bit more affordable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess we've kind of run the gamut. 15 and under, 5K and under. Imagine that unlimited is kind of your, budget price point, or I guess lack thereof. What options would we kind of suggest at that? We're kind of leaning into something more classic and timeless. We've brought out a two-tone Datejust and a Rolex Submariner. I think some of these, especially kind of in those they'll never go out of style range, is sort of where we're suggesting. Why not give them something that they will want forever?
Sure.
If price point is not an issue, Rolex. It'll keep, if not improve, on that original.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll
spend.
speak to the Submariner. You can't go wrong,
No.
right? You just simply can't go wrong. It's an amazing watch. It's so iconic. It will be around forever. It will be appreciated forever. If it's in your budget, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that the two-tone Datejust and the black Submariner are arguably the most iconic Rolex watches ever created, some of the most popular. And, one's dressier, one's sportier. Both are built to last a lifetime and could easily be worn every day, dressed up or down. If you have the cash, just throw on it. Absolutely get a Rolex.
Yeah.
So one thing I actually love about this Submariner is, I guess this kind of leans into our last kind of like tip or suggestion when buying a graduation watch, is to establish birth year with this. So for those kind of new to the watch world, a birth year watch essentially is a watch from the year you were born.
Sure.
So with these big milestones, whether it's graduation, which is what we're talking about today, I've seen a lot of this around like wedding gifts and even just birthday gifts as a whole. It cements a watch in that year that you were born. So why were we suggesting something like a birth year watch? Ripley, I think you had a really great point before.
Yeah, so I actually bought a birth year sub, just like that, a 16610, bought that for myself. But why I wanted to get it earlier on in life is because Rolexes just keep getting more expensive. So when I bought my birth year Submariner, it was under $5,000.
Wow.
It's that watch, all of those watches are now worth more. But if you gift your recent graduate a birth year watch in, regardless of if they're in their early 20s, early 30s, depending on what they're graduating, whether it's, med school or, undergrad, that watch is never going to be less expensive than when you buy it for them now. If they want to wait and get a birth year Submariner in their 60s, like if you're 65 right now and want a birth year Submariner, you are looking at tens of thousands of dollars minimum, because that watch only came out in '53.
Yes.
We're talking vintage collectibles, some really rare references, and fast forward another 30 years, it's not going to be a $10,000 watch.
Right. Like Ripley says, it's a perfect time to get a birth year watch. It's still attainable, might not be something that they're thinking about, something they will absolutely appreciate in the future.
So much so.
Like you said, when you go to buy your birth year watch that's now 45 years old instead of 25, that price is significantly higher. And it's also, it's a thing. I think it adds a little bit to the sentimentalness and, the milestone of the occasion. So I think it's a great strategy.
It's almost like a personalization without really having to do much.
Yeah.
And I think especially from that, let's just say someone more established with the funds to actually make this purchase, like a parent or someone really special in your life, what better way to kind of commemorate it and personalize it to you than making sure that it's associated to your birth year?
Well, there's that practice where people have a child and they buy a watch, at that same time when they're born, that they'll then give to them at their 18th or 25th or whatever birthday. And if you've missed that opportunity because it's happened a couple decades ago, this is a great way to kind of go back in time and get that for them. And as someone who owns a birth year sub, I love having something that's same quarter of the same year that I was born, and me and it are just on a lifelong race to see who's going to look better when it's all said and done.
That's fun. That's a really fun way to look at it.
And on Bob's site, I actually like doing this just to always see, we can just search by birth year, right?
Such a good
so
point.
You can go through and it's like, I'm interested, I want to see dress watches, I want to see sport watches, I want to see other brands. I'll filter by my birth year and then just kind of
see what's available.
Always see what's there. I'm constantly looking to see if something comes across there that I just have to have that's from that birth year.
And I think it's important to note that we can really only do this for a limited time. Rolex switched to random numbers, almost over a decade ago, actually.
Right.
And so, as we go forward, unless they have the stamped warranty card, something like a random serial current production sub could be produced at any single point in time, and really only Rolex is going to know that. So the years of being able to actually get yourself a birth year Rolex and, sequential numbers in the letter system make it really easy, that's sort of at a limited time as well. So someone who's born today, it's going to be way harder to actually peg down when it was born if it's separate, or when the watch was made if it's separated from its original warranty card. So it's something that you can do now. It's going to get harder to do, and if you were born today, you probably aren't going to get a birth year Rolex unless it was bought at the same time and has its paperwork. So it is sort of this interesting concept that is going to become harder to do for future generations.
I like it. I think it's a great strategy.
Yeah, and especially if a site like Bob's Watches makes it easy for people to kind of break down the not only inventory that we have available by budget and price point and brand, but now we have it by the actual year that it's produced. So these are kind of tips and tricks that you can utilize on the back end if you are searching for a graduation gift and thinking about a watch. go on bobswatches.com, see what's available, see if it makes sense for you guys in the offering that's available. But again, we do like to plug that new watches are coming on the site every single day. So if you don't see something today, be sure to check back tomorrow. New watches are coming in hourly, really, on
Constantly,
our end. So I really appreciate you guys giving us the chance to kind of break down a way to get a proper gift for your graduate. I mean, it's definitely a big purchase, but it's also a big milestone.
If they're receiving a watch, it's already going to be a good gift. Now
gonna
it's just
say,
about closing that last
Any
bit and
watch
making it
is
the right
a great
one.
idea as a gift.
It is.
Yeah, and hopefully we've helped out with some strategies and a couple ideas that people might not have had. So. Yeah.
And if you guys end up buying a watch for your graduate, be sure to let us know what you got. And if you got it at Bob's Watches, that just makes it even sweeter. So congratulations to all the graduates out there. We know that your future is looking very bright. So congratulations. But you guys, appreciate the conversation.
Yeah,
as always, it's fun to chat watches with you. So until our next Watch Talk, you guys, be well.